Welcome, viewers. This is part of our Minister for Men's Behaviour Change. Tim Richardson, a Victorian MP, has been appointed as Australia's first Parliamentary Secretary for Men's Behaviour Change. The role aims to reduce violence against women and was created in response to a recommendation from the Royal Commission into Family Violence. Richardson will focus on the influence of the internet and social media on boys and men's attitudes towards women and building respectful relationships. Well, let's show a little bit of respect back to that. Let's see what's going on, guys. If you haven't subscribed already to Pro Theologians and Pro Brick Exclusive, please do so. I'd appreciate the encouragement. Let's see what's going on.
A teacher from South Carolina's Low Country, already in trouble with the law for a sex-related crime involving a minor, is arrested again. I take a look at the sad case of Holly Hodges and how it all began. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Holly Hodges is free on bail right now. Up until last Halloween, she was a Head Start teacher in South Carolina's Low Country. But that
Okay, so these women are right throughout our communities, and don't think they're not doing wrong things.
changed last October 31st. Hodges, according to the Beaufort police, was asked to show up at the department, which she did. They were looking into, quote, an incident. That's all the department's Facebook page says. The post says Miss Hodges was escorted to an interview room. Prior to any questions being asked or any statements being given, Ms. Hodges assaulted Beaufort police officers by biting and kicking them. Ms. Hodges was taken into custody and a search incident to arrest.
Okay, so this is a school teacher and she's biting and kicking
revealed she
people.
was in possession of a Schedule II drug. Schedule II drugs are narcotics, and we don't know which one she's accused of possessing, but yikes. On that
Okay, biting, kicking, and on a Schedule II drug. Unbelievable. And these people are right throughout our communities.
claim that Hodges was biting and kicking the officers. Hodges was taken to jail and charged with 5 counts of assault and battery in the 3rd degree, 1 count of resisting arrest, and 1 count of possession of a controlled substance. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office took over the investigation. An incident report from the Sheriff's Office from last Halloween only says the deputies were requested to assist the Beaufort Police Department with an incident at Beaufort Elementary School and that the investigation is ongoing. The next day, the sheriff posted on Facebook that an arrest warrant for 3rd-degree sexual exploitation of a minor was served on Hodges at the jail. The post said, law enforcement officials received a complaint that Holly Hodges, a Head Start staff member assigned to Classroom 2 at Beaufort Elementary School, possessed inappropriate images of children. Investigators have verified that Hodges possessed at least 1 image of a child, which constitutes a violation of South Carolina law. This is an active investigation. Additional charges may be forthcoming as the case progresses. Now, just recently, Hodges was taken into custody again and charged this time with 1st-degree sexual.
Okay, so once isn't enough. This person really learned a lesson, didn't she? The problem is they come out of their hidey holes, they get into the communities, and what really is underneath surfaces, and this is what happens.
Sexual exploitation of a minor. I want to take a moment to tell you about the sponsor of this episode of Crime Fix. It's truthfinder.com.
So let's just hold that there for a minute. I want to show you something, guys, about females.
Anyone. And there's a lot more to this story. So joining me to discuss that and much more is Will Folks. He is the editor and founder of fitsnews.com down in South Carolina, and he's been covering this story very closely. He's been all over it. Will, this is a sad case. So Holly Hodges, it's kind of crazy. She gets arrested on Halloween of last year. She's charged with this 3rd-degree felony, sexual exploitation of a minor. Now she's facing a 1st-degree felony. So what do we know about this? Because I've requested records, and really there's not a lot out there other than this involves images.
No, you're right. We don't know a lot. And obviously on investigations of this nature, there's not going to be a lot that's releasable. And certainly that pending investigation exemption to Freedom of Information Act request applies. But what we do know is there is a picture, at least one picture. We do know that when Holly Hodges was brought in for questioning, again, Halloween last year, apparently all hell broke loose at the Beaufort South Carolina Police Department. There were allegations that she bit and kicked.
Yeah, because they don't like being exposed. They don't like being brought out into the open.
officers as they were questioning her. That resulted in multiple charges of assaulting police officers, resisting arrest. There was actually a drug charge there too that has since been dropped. But the ones that I think we're focused on today are these charges of, again, sexual exploitation of a minor. And Anjanette, in South Carolina, the statute that covers that, it's section 1615395. And there are various varying degrees of sexual exploitation of a minor. The original charge that Holly Hodges was hit with back last fall was third degree, which is simply possessing an image like this. Second degree would be distributing it. First degree would be producing it or selling it. And so the first degree charge is very interesting because it's clearly an escalation of that. And I want to point out also, this is a very serious crime here in South Carolina. Jail time up to 20 years, but there's a mandatory minimum of 3 years for this crime. So if she is convicted of that first degree charge, it's 3 years in prison with no possibility of parole.
She's kind of troubled. So tell me what you were able to learn about her past, because she had attempted suicide. She tried to take her own life.
No, that's correct. And again, in covering this stuff, obviously our first and primary concern is for the safety of the students that are under the care of the Beaufort County schools and any state and federal programs that are down there. That's obviously our top priority. But in covering these stories, we also try to be mindful, again, of Holly Hodges and of the folks who are accused in these cases, because you never know all the history there. You never know exactly what's going on in the background. And so one of the interesting things about this case, we had a number of folks reach out after our initial report and said, hey, this is a very troubled person. You need to do some homework and tell the full story. And so we did. We submitted Freedom of Information Act requests to the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, some other entities down in the Low Country. We were able to pull an incident report. And this was in June of 2021, right around the time all of the Murdoch saga down there in the Low Country was starting off. But it was an incident where Holly Hodges threw herself off of a bridge down in Beaufort County and was rescued by kayakers shortly thereafter. Police found a suicide note in her vehicle, and at the time she provided a lengthy written statement to local law enforcement detailing a number of the issues that she was experiencing at the time. These were some very odd statements she made. She talked about how her phone and her tablet were downloading things that she had not clicked on or accessed. She talked about how her car's stereo was being manipulated to play certain songs to convince her to kill herself.
Well, she was on drugs. She had
her computer. Well, I don't know how they got
narcotics,
there.
Remember?
Downloaded without my knowledge. And again, I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, but it certainly would be a convenient excuse in the event that there were more than one image related to this investigation.
Yeah.
So do we think that there would be more charges filed? Because they've had the electronics for a long time now, and they've just filed the additional first-degree charge of sexual exploitation of a minor. They haven't filed additional charges. So I would assume that they've had plenty of time now to go through the phone.
Well, you're right. And the lack of additional charges related to, again, additional items of, again, I call it child porn. I think the new term is child sex abuse material. To me, child porn actually sounds worse if you're thinking about a defendant. That's the kind of thing, if I'm a juror, I hear that, I'm much more likely to, lock them up for good. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we don't know exactly what they found, but it is a bit surprising that there haven't been any additional charges related to new images found. And I guess if you were trying to put a positive construction on it for Holly Hodges, you might say, well, the elevation of the charge related to that one image, well, all they found out was that, yes, she took the image. We're still, again, as I mentioned, hearing differing reports as to why that image was taken. And could there be an innocent explanation? Again, that's what a lot of folks in Beaufort were telling us. But I would be very surprised if the AG would decide to escalate the charge if there were an innocent explanation. It just doesn't seem like something that the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force would do.
So a married woman couldn't help herself. She's been on drugs. She's tried to commit suicide. She interferes with young children. She exploits their pictures. Guys, maybe we need a women minister for women's behaviour change. Comment in the box below. I'll put the link to this in the description. Thanks for coming in, guys. If you haven't already, do us a favour.
With this third degree.
Encourage me and subscribe to this channel. You can also subscribe to Law and Crime channel. It's really good. Pro Bricky exclusive and Pro Theologist. I'll see you in the next one, guys.